I'll explain the difficulty. Welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. I am Joey Calvo. We are on YouTube as well as PhillyCAM TV. And today our guest is Dr. LaGrande Mason Jr., PhD. He's been a life and relationship coach since 1995, and he has written a book called The 5 Pitfalls of a Relationship. So, we lost him for a minute. He's having some technical difficulties, but he is going to be with us momentarily. So we're going to patiently wait. So just to let you know, there will be some. Here we go. Give me one moment. Let me get him back on. There we go. We got Dr. Mason back. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Joey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I know your viewers enjoy you, and I just feel honored that you allowed me to come on.
Okay.
You can sing a little bit in between.
Me sing, please. I'm lucky I have a relationship. You know, but we're gonna get to that later on. So you wrote this. So before we even get to the book, who is Dr. Mason? How did we get to where we're at now?
My journey has been the most. If life got any better, they'd charge me extra.
Okay, but
done a lot of things. Education, occupation, but this has always been my life journey, is to go into behavioral science and to clinical therapy, all of that type of stuff. I spent some years in sales and marketing, where I helped develop some of the adult beverages in the national and international realm, in the wine and fine wine and spirits industry. I gave a shot at trying to be an actor and a stand-up comic. I was a musician because I come from a family of musicians, so I did do that for quite a while until I got more serious about what I'm doing now as a life coach, psychologist, and relationship coach. I also do stress management, and I'm an integrative mental health specialist as well.
Okay.
So, but when it comes to relationships, I was fortunate enough to have a life partner, and I still am. We've been married for, it'll be 54 years this year.
God bless you.
Thank you. We saw a lot of our friends and family have failed relationships. Well, I had clients who had failed relationships, marriage as well as dating. In fact, their love life was so flaky, if you added fruit and milk, you might as well call it serial dating.
Wow. Interesting.
So I came up with the concept of these 5 pitfalls originally for married couples. But we would do this open workshop every month. And it happened to be, and we opened it up to everybody. It didn't matter whether you're married or single or divorced. So there's a group of these young ladies who were from a sorority that happened to come, and they liked the whole concept. And they said to me, "Hey, Dr. Mason, you know, we're unmarried. Some of them were divorced. Some of them had never been married. Said we like to be referred to as the unmarried. And this concept makes us realize what it is that we haven't been successful in keeping or finding that partner that we can sustain." So I refined it a little bit. And by the way, the information took about 13 years for me to no. The book took me 13 years to finally finish and have it published. But it was over many years that I took the information the vignettes, as I call it.
Yeah.
You're hustling at the water cooler and the coffee
Yeah.
pot at work about people complaining about their relationships. And I decided to start compiling this. And that's when I came up with the 5 pitfalls. And vanity, pity, desperation, entrapment, and spite. And with that being said, I bought into my own buy-in, so to speak. I really found that with feedback and people's responses, that this is truly viable. And a lot of people, and it's not a how-to book. Let me put it that way, Joey.
Okay.
This is a why book. There's way too many books that are out there by celebrities and so-called specialists. Look at their bio. A couple of years after they've written this book, their relationship fell apart.
Yeah.
You see it often with those celebrities that have written books on how to have a successful relationship, how to have a successful marriage, only to see that their own relationship, their own marriage, obliterated, for lack of a better term.
Okay. So you said there was the 5 pitfalls, and you explained them. And repeat those 5 pitfalls again, because somehow each one of them sounded like me as you were saying it.
You don't have to ask this once.
Very simple, folks. Each of these. I caught the pity. I know pity you mentioned. Yeah, I feel it. But repeat those 5 again so I can just make sure they all fit me somehow.
Okay, sure. Okay. Hey, don't worry. The whole idea, Nietzsche once said that with, and I'm kind of paraphrasing it, he just basically said that with enough whys, the how will come. So I'll start with pity. Pity being the feel sorry for pitfall, meaning that you got in a relationship because you felt sorry for somebody. Or they felt sorry for you and started giving more intimate time and pleasure, if you would, because they felt sorry for you, or you felt sorry for someone else. And oftentimes what happens in the pity, you start spending, whether it's time or money, because you feel sorry, and often people are going to take advantage of you because they recognize that this is the hook that they've got you into. You're no longer the fisherman. You're the fish. You're the fisherman with a freshwater pole out there in the middle of the Arctic, and you hooked a whale that just pulls you in, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, and when it's on the other side, someone could feel sorry for you, and you'll take it as something as true affection, when essentially all they were doing was just being nice.
Yeah.
That
sounds. Yeah, that sounds like me right now.
Feels like that water before.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm even saying it now. I feel that, I just feel that that people are interested in me. They say they're interested in me. They say they're interested. But when I want to take that step and say, hey, let's do this, they back out. They're like, no, that's not what I want. And I'm like,
okay.
I know that doesn't sound like pity, but there are some people that like feel sorry for me because, I'm like, totally alone. Because I made a mistake years ago that, cost me a lot. And in my feeling is I'm not going to be happy again because of that mistake. And I don't explain what the mistake is on this in this podcast. I really can't, because then I fall into cancel culture in reference to it.
Got it.
But I had one who accepted me for it, and it made me feel like, like, don't feel bad for me, like, just let me suffer, because it's going to feel like a life sentence anyway in reference to it. But this person I've known for 16 years and still stands by me.
Okay.
Even though it's a complicated thing. But and then there's another person that's recently became interested in me. And I threw out every negativity in the book. Everything about me. Everything. And they caved themselves in and said, you know what? I'm willing to take a chance with you. And I'm like, you don't want to take a chance with me, and even on the dating apps, and I even attempted dating apps, and I'm actually going to do a personal podcast, the next episode, about this, because there's just so much I want to get off my chest, not just of relationships, but of friends as well, because it's the same. It's kind of these pitfalls can be part of the same thing with friends. If I look at it, but definitely the pity. I feel it. Because, like I said, of those two that I mentioned, they were like, you do deserve a chance, and I'm going to give it to you.
Okay.
But it's complicated. One, like I said, one is complicated, but it's still there. So, so let's go on to the next pitfall.
It's always going to be complicated.
Yeah.
When we try to put in other ingredients that are not going to mix well. Yes, relationships is like chemistry. It's like a puzzle. It requires progress.
Yes.
The ability to pick the pieces to put in the right spots, to put in the right spices, or whatever, to make it taste good.
Yeah.
And at the end, if it tastes good, smells good, looks good, feels good, then there's a good opportunity it might work. Not always.
Well, what I mean by complicated, not that type of complicated. It's just complicated in who the person is in reference to
all of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah. I mean,
everybody. We're all complicated.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, in reference to that one, what I mean by complicated is, this person is more than just, well, let's just say it's something you rarely find. Well, not rarely find. It turns out to be common after some time. You're hearing like the scandals with the New England Patriots coach that's going on. That's the complication I'm talking about in reference to it. I with that person. The other person, there was some complication, but that complication fizzled itself out. And so because it fizzled itself out, they, felt sorry, even though they knew I was there, and said, okay, let's attempt this, So, but let's go on to the next pitfall.
Okay. So I'm going to go next to vanity.
Okay.
Vanity is the superficial pitfall. Vanity is the pitfall where your attraction goes in what a person looks like, what a person's status in life. They might have a great job and very flashy, drive a fancy car, wear fancy clothes, go to fancy places, and when you get to know them intimately, and I don't, when I say intimate, it doesn't mean sexually often. It means that you start having those inner feelings, and you find out that person who you've been attracted to because of their outward appearance, they almost soulless in comparison to what you thought they were. And I use the comparison that of a vanity that is very ornate. It's got carving. It's well polished. And when you open it up, the stuff that's in it, it's worthless. Underwear, socks, other clothing, the stuff that's supposed to go for giveaways, maybe old coins that don't really have any value past what they represent. I can go on and on about what a vanity piece of furniture is like. Tools. It has nothing in there that is really substantial unless it's hiding a safe. It's the facade of a safe that's got $100,000 in jewelry and stuff in it. So vanity is that superficial pitfall where people get caught up in other people because of what they look like and how they appear to be. That's one of the first ones that I recognized when I started hearing friends and coworkers and even relatives talk about this person who they really thought was just, the bee's knees, all those old expressions about what they thought this person really was. And
I actually can admit to that. When I mentioned about the two people, the first one just came out of the blue in reference to it. I mean, that first one actually happened by accident. It just, a spontaneous thing happened, and that came to be. The second one goes into the vanity, pitfall, because this person's truly beautiful and amazing, and there's more to this person that I ever found out, and it just really just brought me in to that person. And so but then I would turn around to them, and I'm like, you don't want me. I mean, look at me. I'm like ugly and creepy looking, and I will put myself down every which way possible. And then I will fall back to that past mistake. It's the truth. I will look in the mirror, and even if God has forgiven me for that past thing, I never will. And because of that, I've given myself kind of that sentence of, you're not going to have something again. But again, that was proven wrong once. And it's being attempted to be proven wrong again. But I don't see the vanity within myself. I can see vanity around everybody else. But within me, I don't see vanity. My version of fun right now is going to a casino, sitting at a slot machine. That's it. But if I'm on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, okay, I'll look at the ocean and I could just, think of like if there was someone with me that I could really say something in reference to it. But when I'm by myself, no. Okay. Because I'm like, what did I do? What, but, I know what I did. That's the thing. But I just have to keep reminding myself, what did I do? How did I get to why I'm alone? Why things are happening the way they do, So, but in reference to this pitfall of vanity, I can see it in everybody else. And I will literally I'll go up to someone and say, you're truly beautiful. You have beautiful long hair, beautiful eyes, and I could do that to the yazoo. But I get the rarity. Well, it hasn't been rarity now because even on the dating apps, they take one look at me like, yeah, you're not bad yourself. I'm like, what planet are you from? In reference to it.
Well,
because I don't see.
Maybe it's your popularity. People are attracted to people who are popular, who have a station in life that appears to be successful. That's a form of vanity. It doesn't mean that head to toe you're beautiful, or anything like that. But it's the superficial. It's the surface type things that people become attracted to, and then find out that it isn't what they thought it was. So that's why I say it's superficial. There's people that are, they give a person a chance to have sex with them, and it's the greatest sex they've ever had. They do anything and everything, anytime, anywhere, and it's great. But the other,
the
other part of the relationship or the relationship factors, personal factors, just are not going to fit. And it may not be for you or that person, but somebody else, maybe it fits for them. But it's not true. It's not the inside of that person.
Yeah. I mean, in reference to me, it's like if I mention this podcast right now, it then the interest becomes in reference to it. But I'll tell you, I literally am starting to say, and I'm most people. Well, I can't say most people, but Howard Stern, okay, would actually turn around and say, you know what you see on the radio, what you hear on the radio is all an act. And I started to feel that now with this podcast. Me being quote unquote happy or smiling, it comes down to an act because it's really what's inside of me that's saying, hey, why are you happy? You're not, because of what happened, with that, with the mistake, being put down when, in school, because that built up in me as well, to where I just accepted it, and I get to a point where I'm literally just wanting to push people away, because I'm like, yes, I want you, but you really don't want me. You really don't want who I really am. And like I said, two people are like, we see your flaws. And they will. I can put a force field out. They broke it. They could break it. And even like I said, with these dating apps that I've been trying, because I was like, I'm tired of being alone. But yet, I'm two-facing myself. Because, yeah, I'm saying I'm tired of being alone, but at the same time, I'm like, you don't want me at the same time. So, I don't know if that falls into another pitfall, but,
No.
But in reference to, the pity, yes. Because people see me and feel sorry even when I mention that mistake. And the vanity, because I have a podcast. But I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not Adam Carolla. I don't make $250 million. I don't make $500 million like Howard Stern does on the radio. I joined that PhillyCAM TV is a non-commercial, community access media. So I can't make anything from doing it, but I'm looking at ways to try to make something of this.
Well, let's give it a chance, Joey. I mean, time provides, and we talk about the progression. I can't tell you how. I got out of trying to be a how-to kind of clinician years ago. What I have discovered is helping people discover their whys.
Yeah.
And let's take a moment to talk about you and your self-sabotaging. And that's one of the newer little things that we put on ourselves. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself the time. What is it other than forgiving yourself can you do to make yourself feel good, feel happy? And I know I'm speaking to a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
I do. And the best person, when we talk about dating, if you can like yourself and start falling in love with yourself, I can almost guarantee there's somebody out there in the world who's going to fit being in love and in like with you as well. But you got to start taking you into your own self. To thy own self be true. Love yourself for who and whom you are, and what you do, and what you can do, and what you're going to do. That's essentially, it all comes down to, for all of us.
Yeah.
I know I'm not gonna. Hey, I tried a lot of things. I even was on the verge of having a tryout with the San Francisco Giants almost 50 years ago. I tried being a stand-up comic, and I tried different things. And guess what? I'm tickled to death with the fact it was a try, it was an opportunity, whether I fell on my face or not. I am not a great-looking guy. I don't think I'm Godzilla and King Kong's baby.
I'm pretty good. No. I had to slip that joke in. I had to slip that joke in. But in reference to me, before I got married, okay, because I am divorced, and it took 15 years to get divorced in reference to it. Because every relationship this is what it comes down to, and I think this is why the self-sabotage is really in in me is because every relationship I've had cheated on me. And because of that and everything else, it all came one shot. And that's why I'm like, you don't want me. Because we could be in public and, guys will come up to you, in front of me. Matter of fact, I'll even say this, and this has been told to me. The complicated one I told you, the first one, the 16-year, that's still, this person was with their complication, I call it. And people actually said to that person, can we take pictures of your dad? Now, here's the thing. This person is in their 50s at the time. They're now they're 13 years older than I am in reference to it. And so they turned around and they're like, can we take a picture with him? And she was like cracking up because she's up there in age and they look at him like he's her daughter. He's her father. And when she said this to me, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So now in the relationships I looked at and the vanity, quote unquote, pitfall. Mm-hmm. If someone decides to be with me per se, okay, and we're on the Atlantic City Boardwalk, if guys came up to that person and be like, ask them out in front of me, and then they'll probably look at me like, is it okay with you, Dad? And that's the feeling I now get. And that's another reason why I say you don't want a relationship with me, because I get that feeling. And, and I'll say that on the dating apps, literally. I'm like, look how amazing you are. You're walking out with me in public, and somebody's going to come up to you and ask you out in front of me and then turn around and ask me if it's okay with me. And I'm going to be like, if you want to go. I can't stop you, But they're like, no, I'm with you. Let's move on. But I don't believe that statement, because deep down, they're like, look at the guy that's asking me out in front of who I'm with, and this is my thinking. Like, I don't want to hurt the person I'm with, but at the same time, this guy's a hunk. This guy's got probably more than what this one has, like, best way of saying it is this. Joel Osteen did a message, and I follow Joel Osteen and Dr. Charles Stanley and all that. Joel Osteen did a message a long time ago. It says, you're always going to have, there is no 100% person. Okay? People see 80% of you. And they always are looking for that other 20%. And when they find that, when they think they find that other 20%, it's 80% of that person. So, and that's kind of what I went through. And they didn't even, say, they would tell me afterwards, listen, I found somebody better. Some didn't even tell me. They just left. Didn't even, let me even let it. But when I realized it, I was like, okay. And that again comes back to why I'm feeling like I do, and why I give myself these statements of, I'm this, I'm that, it's all because of what I have gone through in my experiences. But, like I said, the one with the 16-year one that's still there, when that person told me, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And, he's like not even 10 years older than she is, in reference to it. But it was just his vanity that made him look like that. And then, in reference to the other one, that there's a different vanity to that. But I would throw the same thing out. If that person was with me and we're walking down anywhere, doesn't even have to be the boardwalk or the beach or anything, Atlantic City, but anywhere in public, her vanity is going to stand out and people are going to flock to her, and like, and then turn around like, is it okay with you, Dad? Because of my age as compared to, that. So, like I said, in reference to that, that's where I stand on it. And like I said, I literally now started to put up a force field because I'm like, you're not going to see what you think you're going to see. Like, like I'm saying in reference to this podcast. This podcast, I just originally, this was a side hustle, thinking, I was going to do something. I didn't expect to go 7 years, 6 years, no, 7. Yeah, we're in season 7, quote unquote. And I didn't expect to meet supermodel Carol Hall. I didn't think I would ever meet Gregory Jabbar from CBS's Blue Bloods. I never thought I would meet Philadelphia Legends and have them on. I never thought that I would have a smooth jazz guitarist who's got great music that's in that little ticker on the bottom. Matter of fact, so is the supermodel. But and if you ever went to that person and said, you're a beautiful supermodel, she would say, I'm not a supermodel. I'm just a model. And I'm still amazed we chat after all those years. And she actually told me she came on that podcast. She came on the podcast. And this was when we did it way before YouTube. Like the first season, we were on the phone and we were recording through. There was an app on here on the cell phone in reference to it. And I would never think that person actually originally followed me on Twitter to start it all, which was the most shocking thing. Matter of fact, 2 models actually follow me on Twitter, believe it or not. It surprises the hell out of me because I'm like, how can I be this interesting if you really don't know who I am? But the model that came on the podcast was like, I came on your podcast because of you. Because I wanted to do this for you. And we still chat off and on to this day. Could I still believe it? I'm still shocked. The same thing with, like, the second person that was interested in me. That's interested in me. I didn't think because of who they are that they would want to really get to know me. But the podcast is why, in reference to it. And I really, deep down, like I said, this podcast is like an act to me. Because this is not really who I am. And like I said, I'm gonna do a podcast in the next episode of who I am, what a friend is, and introduce them to possibly who that second person that's interested in me. Because I literally, and I'm saying this now, I literally just took myself out of their picture. I literally just did it. I just dissolved friendships left and right. Because I don't deserve to be a friend even. But I am getting the pushback at the same time of, you don't tell us who to be friends with. Okay. I'm not telling you who to be friends with. I'm just saying I'm out of your life. I'm walking away. And it's not because of you. It's because of me. So let's go on to the third pitfall, because we're almost out of time.
Ooh, okay. This has been fun, Joey.
Yes.
And I must say, I appreciate you sharing your own state of being.
Yeah.
That means a lot. You have great humility. And trust me, that is what the world needs today. Honesty and humility.
Yeah.
But the third pitfall, since we've done two of them, is desperation. And of course, desperation means that we will do something that is dropping of standards just to do or be or get what we need. I make the reference to people that are so desperate to be with someone. Maybe they don't want to be the third wheel. They don't want to go to their cousin's wedding without a date. They don't want to go to their class reunion without a date. And so you'll bring along a 12-toed 5-foot monkey, dressed in whatever gets put on them, just to eliminate that sense of loneliness or not being with someone.
Yeah. Well,
dropping the standards, and that's what it is. It's settling for whatever comes along.
Yeah. That's me, but except I won't. The only thing I don't do is I won't, put like you said, like putting on a monkey just on my back to just be in a function with. I mean, I will wind up going alone, but I always feel like I desperately would rather have someone with me physically to be there to enjoy it with. And that's what that's how I look at it. What I'm looking for is someone to just want to spend time with, that could lead to a physical, sexual, romantic relationship. Even though there's more to it. So, but the desperation is there. And, as you were mentioning, I just kept pointing at me like, yeah, I'm desperate right now. Because I'm just tired. And you know how you mentioned earlier about time and patience and stuff? My patience wore out on me. I've given myself so much time. Like I said, the one that's the 16 years, I'm just barely holding on to it because we rarely see each other now in reference to that. I mean, our only communication in reference to that now is this, a cell phone, in reference to it. But I'm tired, and I'm that third pitfall of desperation is there. I don't want to wait anymore. It's like I want it now. I'm not going to wait a year. I'm not going to wait 2 years. It's like now. It's like the late Al Jarreau song, "All or Nothing at All." That's how I feel.
Frank Sinatra did it first, and that was my favorite version.
Yeah. I'm a smooth jazz person, so and like I said, in reference to the smooth jazz guitarist I got to know and had on the podcast twice. The second one actually amazed me because he did a remix of "Ain't No Sunshine" with Ruben Studdard, and I'm like, wow, to realize, this is who I've gotten to know. So let's go on to the fourth one because we're like I said, we've only got like about 10 minutes at least.
The fourth one is spite. I'm sorry. The fourth one is entrapment.
Okay.
So to be caught up in a relationship out of deceit.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that you're going in this direction, and in all reality, they're taking you in another direction, and they do it with smoking mirrors.
The smoking guns, yeah.
You get caught up in being forced to stay in a relationship because you share a lease, and if either one of you goes out, that means the other one would have to pay for it, or you share a cell phone, or somebody gets pregnant on purpose just to keep the other person in the relationship. That's entrapment. Those are some of the iotas of entrapment, and we see
okay. Actually, this is one pitfall that the only reference into this pitfall, to be quick, is that complicated one, the 16-year one. Yes, we both have a cell phone that's in my name. But we discussed that, though. That's the thing. So that's why it doesn't feel like an entrapment in reference to it.
No. So it's not a pit for you. It's not a pitfall.
No.
Others, or somebody else that did it just to keep you in the relationship, that's when it becomes entrapment.
That's they did it because they really enjoyed me for who I was before this podcast. So like I said, that's one thing that like you said keeps me above water in reference to it. But I will say this really quick as well before we get to the last pitfall, because I got to try to keep it within the 10 minutes that's left, is in December, I was on my final straw. It had nothing to do with relationships. It had nothing to do with, it wasn't relationship wise. It was because I was not able to, quote unquote, live by my ways and means. I was fired in February 25 from a job. I was on unemployment until August. And from August till December, I didn't have anything to go by outside of food stamps. And so I was at the point where, like, you know what? I'm done. This podcast was starting to go down in reference to guests, to where I was lucky if I had one a month. And so I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm giving up. and I almost decided to take my life in December.
Wow.
I needed to throw, but God said, not gonna let that happen, because He showed me, in a way, there was this guy, because I live in Philadelphia. There's Penn's Landing, where the Delaware River is, between New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And looking across the way, you have the battleship New Jersey. So I'm on Penn's Landing, on the pier, and this guy just leaps right across the edge to the edge of it. I thought he was going to fall into the water, and when I saw that was the message I got. Was like, not gonna happen. And God made me realize this podcast was my calling, and that second person was my calling as well. But the door's still open to it. I wanted to walk away from it. I still do. Because I just feel that it just fell apart. Everything just is falling apart the way I look at it. So let's go to this. We got like about 5 minutes left. Let's get into this last pitfall.
Okay. And if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the book.
Okay.
Let me read a portion about spite out of the book. And the book is quick reading.
Yeah.
It's only 61 pages, and it says, spite pitfall, while is failure to yield, it's also the pursuit. If you have been warned by a person close to or previously involved with that person, but you continue to go forward in the relationship is moving towards spite, meaning that when you fail to yield, when all of the warning signs say that this ain't the person for you, they're a monster, it's just not going to work out. They're taking you on a ride for you and for themselves, with you, with your money, with your time. If you don't do that, if you don't yield, you're moving in that relationship in spite of.
Right.
And I think so many of us over the years, we pursued something because we're competitive. We didn't want to give up. We really were into that person. And essentially it came down to, we wasted time. We wasted energy. We wasted love that we could have given or saved for ourselves or for someone else. And
right.
That's spite.
Yeah. And I do feel from those two that are interested in me. It's like, it was like they sacrificed themselves for me, even though I didn't expect it to happen, So I put up the link to where they could reach you, or the link tree link up on the screen. Definitely check out Dr. Mason. And it was a really interesting chat that we have. And folks, you got a preview of what the next episode literally is. You actually, no, you didn't get the preview. You actually got the next episode that I'm going to do. Literally. You just got it. I just didn't throw in, what I like to do, what I'm looking for, or I kind of did, but, I didn't distinguish it any further. That's next episode. And believe me, what you're going to hear me say about it is like, you're way out there, So
You are yourself, Billy. You
Yeah.
are who you are, and that's a beautiful thing, man. I really appreciate you being candid and putting it out there.
Yeah.
Obviously enough, there's some stuff.
Yeah.
And you aren't afraid to take that out of you and share with others, because one of you is 99 other people much like you are going through the same thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and I appreciate you saying, and I appreciate you saying that. But I'm also one of those people that, like, okay, if I'm making a difference, prove it to me. Everything has to come down to proof. Literally, it does. No lie. And as we're running out of time, like I said, check out Dr. Mason's link on the screen there. If I made a difference, I want to know. Because if you don't say it, I'm never going to know. And that's my pitfall of
not a pitfall. Not a pitfall.
Well, my downfall, I'll call it then. One of my downfalls, besides my looks. But I will say is, if I don't make a difference, then fine. I'm sorry I wasted your time watching this. But if I did make a difference, or you see something through me that changed you, leave a comment, even post podcast, because I do look at everything. And if you tell me, Joey, you sharing your story and your experiences and your feelings and everything about you made me see who I am. Thank you for letting me see this. Tell me. Because, like I said, if you don't tell me, like I'm saying, it's all an act to me. Because, I'm just doing this for my breath, and killing time and, so on. But Dr. Mason, you're welcome to come back on here anytime. And I, like I said, I enjoyed this chat. I thank you for exploiting the next episode in advance, in reference to it. But it was interesting. And believe it or not, I'm actually now going to turn around and send this episode to the second person that was interested, because I kind of want them to hear what they're going to hear the next episode, because it's going to come out. It's going to come out. The mistake, like I said, I can't bring out, but everything else in reference to what I'm looking for, what I would like in a friend, if that happened, but again, it's 80%, is going to come out in the next episode. So thank you again for coming on. And thank you again for the great conversation. And thank you, everybody, for watching the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. God bless you all.